Mr. Speaker.
Melissa Lee.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I shall start my contribution by not offending that senior member of the opposition. I am a good Korean girl. But I shall just say, as Mr. Peters actually started, children, listen, that's not how you actually do it. That's an example of how you should have quit a long time ago. That's what happens if you stay here a little too long, a little too long in the tooth, and he should have perhaps actually quit when he was out the last time. Sir, as I said, I am a good Korean girl, and I don't like to actually insult an elderly gentleman, but I just want to say that just in support of my colleagues from this side who actually sort of talked about Mr. Little and the leadership of the Labour Party, I'd just like to actually start by saying congratulations to Mr. Little and commiserations to Mr. Robertson. But Mr. Robertson, take heart. Here on this side, we actually love wearing our T-shirts called I'm a key person. I don't know too many of you who might actually like to wear I'm a little person. So perhaps, so you'll be forgiven for not wearing one of those T-shirts. Sir, this side wants to talk about what is actually good for our country. This side is focused on growing our economy, and this National Party has actually delivered for New Zealanders. Our economy has grown by more than 3.9% in the last term, and we have actually provided more than 72,000 jobs in the last year. But one thing that has actually reminded me when we're talking about all these, lovely trade that we've actually got with overseas is that somebody reminded me that we do not as a nation become rich by trading by ourselves. We need to trade with overseas nations, and I am very, very proud of the work that our Trade Minister and our Foreign Affairs Minister and Prime Minister, and also I played a little part in it as well by bringing together the free trade agreement with Korea as well. We've got 50 million people in just South Korea alone who could be eating our food, who'll be using our products. Immediately, once we actually sign it, $65 million will be gone in the tariff that we actually pay. We currently actually pay more than $200 million in tariff alone. And that is unproductive for our producers to be competing against countries like EU, countries like Chile, countries like the United States that Korea already has a free trade agreement with. So it's not just about trading with Korea, but trading and competing on the same footing as those nations who already has a free trade agreement with Korea. So immediately, businesses like, kiwi fruit growers, their tariffs are like 45% going into Korea. That's a savings of millions and millions of dollars. Milk producers, our cheeses. Korea is one of the biggest importer of our cheeses. And as a Korean who's actually a little bit lactose intolerant, I don't know why, but they do actually take a lot of our cheese, and we export a lot. And also, I just want to say, when we actually have this kind of free trade agreement with a country like this, we actually reduce the cost of the product that we use in New Zealand. I know that many people will be using Samsung or the whiteware, for washing machines and dryers. I know that many people use Samsung telephones, and they even sponsor lots of our sporting codes as well. But many years ago, before the free trade agreement, I remember having to pay $6,000 for a mobile phone. That was $6,000 for a mobile phone. I was a bit silly paying that. A little bit, my mother actually paid for that. But nowadays it costs way less than that. But Microtech 2, when it first came out, which does nothing like the technology that we have now, people were paying $6,000 for a mobile phone. Now we actually pay a heck of a lot less, and that's all through these trades that we've managed to get, free trade agreements that we are actually getting. So it is actually way cheaper for New Zealanders. Also, the free trade, the relationship that we have with foreign countries was also developed things like technology. In Mount Albert, in Selwyn Village, robotic technology was actually trialed in Selwyn Village. That was actually a joint venture between Auckland University and Korean technology companies. So I celebrate that, and this is as a result of the good work that the national government is actually doing.
Grant.